The build-up to one of the hottest derbies in global football starts now. They don't come every day, but when they do, certainly you've got to give them the attention they deserve. Manchester United is hosting Manchester City at Old Trafford just weeks after the death of one of the biggest bullies from Old Trafford Manchester City will ever dream about. Rest in peace, Sir Bobby Charlton. There is a plan to honor him in ways we've never seen before the start of that game. Very innovative and beautiful from Manchester United. How on earth wouldn't you have done that? What a beautiful way to send off a legend like that. Now we've got to send him off, not with just the organization of the event at Old Trafford or of the match, but rather with the a beating of Manchester City, because there are noisy neighbors in blue. Let us paint them red with the blood and everything that they do expect with the color red. So it's going to be an amazing game at Old Trafford. And guess what? The Manchester United camp has been boosted because our midfield, where Erik Ten Hag has admitted there's a lot of competition, is fully fit. Casemiro is back in the team. We've got Mason Mount, he's fit to play. The captain, Bruno Fernandes, is fit. Sofian Amrabat is fit. Scott McTominay is fit. Christian Eriksen is fit. Guys, selection headache for Erik Ten Hag, but that obviously should be good headache for him. But how on earth does he select them? This is why we're here to talk on the hotspot. Subscribe if you haven't, as we build up to 6K. But the question is, you've Sofian Amrabat, Christian Eriksen, Scott McTominay, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount. Who do you bench? Who of these midfielders should be on the bench? That's the debate we should be having. And I've heard many people, again, and I'm one of those who have been advocating for Bruno Fernandes being benched for a bit because he has not been performing in the last games. And to be honest, I think it is right for players to be selected based on their performances, their recent performances, because you're as good as your last performance in sport. But I'm a little confused now, and I'll tell you why. And I'm torn between starting him, and I think I would go for still starting him for reasons that I'm going to tell you. Whereas, yes, it is true, Christian Eriksen and Scott McTominay have been more effective in recent games than Bruno Fernandes, who has played more minutes than them. I feel that Bruno Fernandes has got some bit of pedigree when it comes to the opponent in question, and that is Manchester City. It's a big game, a big opponent. He's the captain. He has scored 2 goals against them in the Premier League. I think 1 in the FA Cup as well. So he has faced them, and players have got teams. Each team has got a player, their bogey player. I think Bruno Fernandes has met Manchester City 7 times and scored 2 times against them. So maybe he's their bogey player. So maybe we need him for such a game, just because of that. And we are hoping entirely on that, not because he's been performing so well in the recent games. So I think it might be a difficult game for Erik Ten Hag to put him on the bench. It might be a difficult game for him to make that decision. Remember, he's the captain, a captain who snatched away the captain's armband from another player who was not performing, but right now he's one of Manchester United's best performers in Harry Maguire. So if Erik Ten Hag stripped Bruno Fernandes of the captaincy right now, how would it look? It's a difficult place to be. But on the other side, and the other school of thought will tell you, we don't care. You're a manager, you need victories, you need players who are performing. Forget about pedigree. Christian Eriksen came in as a substitute in the second half in that game. The last game, we played the Champions League against Copenhagen. He changed the game instantly. He was man of the match, playing 30 minutes, 45 minutes off the bench. So you've got to be starting him. But what does that mean? Where is he playing? Because if Casemiro is there, you're playing Manchester City. Casemiro and Amrabat should be starting close to each other. This is something we've been hoping for. This is why we wanted Bruno Fernandes, rather Amrabat, to come. In games like this, you're playing Manchester City, you've got to be solid. So Amrabat and Casemiro should be playing alongside each other if they are both back and fit. So don't tell me about, again, what Erik Ten Hag loves doing, playing maybe one natural holding midfielder with the Bruno Fernandes or Christian Eriksen or Scott McTominay. No, it should be 2 natural holding midfielders. Sofian Amrabat and Casemiro should be starting. So for me now, the debate is on Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount, because they all can't start in the same team unless Erik Ten Hag is trying to try out something new, which I don't think is the right game to try, start trying out things that you play all of those. So you have, and, interesting. So you play that would be a cluttered midfield. Doesn't make sense. Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen. Before even forget about Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen. McTominay was one of our worst performers in the last game against Copenhagen. Whereas he came off the bench and performed, I think he can still start on the bench. I think we are okay. I think we can, for him, we can agree, he can come in as an impact substitute. I think he has proven that he can do that. So for me, Scott McTominay now, I think I've admitted he should be starting on the bench when all these other players are fit. A bit of Mason Mount as well. So that's why for me, my debate is between Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen, who starts as a number 10? Who starts as our number 10? That's the question. Do they both play? And Eriksen is number 10. Bruno Fernandes is pushed to the right. Does that work for us? I feel like that, again, is a gamble. You don't want to try out things on a team like Manchester City. So keep Bruno Fernandes where he has hurt them before, probably. It's a difficult place, and you can give me your opinion about it. And that's, for me, I think, you see what troubles managers go through. You've got players who are all fit. We all want fitness, and it's a good selection headache. And this is a perfect test for Erik Ten Hag. He said it before that he didn't have the chance to start his preferred starting 11. I think we are almost there, because within no time, Aaron Wan-Bissaka will return. He's obviously perhaps his preferred starting right back ahead of Diogo Dalot. Then Lisandro Martinez is the other key player who is injured. So if Maguire keeps improving and performing the way he is, Lisandro Martinez returns, Rafael Varane is fit, he has just returned. There are no excuses. Kobe Maino is back playing with the under-19, so he's almost entirely fit. So this is the headache, this is the depth. And I've said it here before, guys, that if all our players are fit, Manchester United looks like they can have depth. But I think the challenges Erik Ten Hag has got for the longest time is not being able to consistently try players in particular positions, because of the inconsistency in terms of fitness, but also before the lack of certain players in the team. But now that they're all there, he needs them all fit, and we can see who should be playing where. That's why we'll still go on with debates about where Scott McTominay should play, where Christian Eriksen is preferred, who should play where. So excuse me. Yeah, the dust. It's a bit dusty here. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm okay. So it's an interesting game. It's fun to spoil. This wants to spoil my video, but I won't let it. So here are some interesting stats for you, and that is for these players in question. I asked you, of the players you see there, that is Casemiro, Sofian Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes, the captain, and Christian Eriksen. Start 3 and bench 1. Who do you think? You can add on Mason Mount and Scott McTominay if you think that one of the two should be in the conversation as well. But here are the stats of Bruno Fernandes in the last games. He has played 3 matches in the Champions League, scored no goal, and assisted once. In the Premier League, he has played 9 games, scored 2 goals, assisted twice. Against Manchester City, he has scored 2 goals in 7 games. Now, his recent form has not been good and convincing, but he has got a pedigree against Manchester City, and it's a big team. He's the captain. Do you pull him out at this, in this kind of game? The lead of the troops. He's been playing all other games, and against Man City, he's not injured. You're saying go on the bench because you've not been performing. I think that's too much to ask of Erik Ten Hag. Bruno will be starting that game without a doubt. But I'll be telling you more team news. Of course, anything could happen, and Kobe Maino could be confirmed as part of the squad, and that will, again, would change the whole entire conversation. Subscribe to the Hotspot. My name is Webb. Manchester United talk all the way. Don't you move a muscle.